an honor it is to have been asked to share our family story. Our journey actually started 22 years ago, even though we actually only started Relive 6 years ago. So I'll explain why I say that, and that is because I was trying to figure out what nutrition really meant for our health 22 years ago when we were blessed with a precious daughter. Her name was Hosanna Joy. She was our 6th child out of 8, and she was born with a very severe heart problem, and she was actually had a diagnosis of trisomy 18. Because of her heart problem, she could not drink very much milk at one time. So I was not able to breastfeed her. She was too weak for that. And you might wonder why I'm starting my story like this, but it means a lot to me because, you know what, I was not able to give my daughter the nutrition that she needed, and I was searching for some answers even that many years ago. And when I asked the doctors to please help me figure out how I could give my daughter more nutrition, because we had to gavage feed her with a tube, and this is what I was offered. I was offered to add sugar to her milk, well, to my breast milk.
Wow.
And so, of course, I'm telling you this not to impress you, but to impress upon you that that is not nutrition, and my doctors could not help me. And because of that, my daughter went to be with the Lord just 5 months later. And it was a very hard time in our life. But you know what? I'm thankful that we had her for as long as we did. And that's kind of a whole other story. But you know what happened is I found myself searching again for myself answers for nutrition. And you know what? When you can't give your own baby something that it really needs, it put me into a very hard place for myself when I realized I was also lacking as well. I was sick for about 8 years, and I should sort of go back just a little bit, because as you said, my name is Carla Ann's. I get really passionate when I talk about our health journey because of the things that we didn't get and the things mostly that we did get. I didn't know about Relive when we had Hosanna, but my husband and I live here in northwestern Ontario. We're the parents of 8 children, one of them in heaven, as you already know. But, you know, we found ourselves really lacking, and I was sick for about 8 years. I had developed fibromyalgia to where it would be easier for you to ask me where I didn't hurt than to ask me where I did. I also had shooting pains up my arms at night with carpal tunnel. My right hand was supposed to be having surgery on immediately. My left hand was going, and I'm a musician, and I could no longer do the things that I love to do, and that is, holding on to my pick when I was playing my guitar, and my arms would go to sleep. I also had a hormone imbalance to where I was bleeding really badly, so I was really low in iron, and the problem is I was already hurting because of the fibromyalgia, and then I couldn't sleep, and then I was low in iron. So all of that put together made it very difficult for me to get any kind of proper sleep. I always said if I didn't hurt so much, maybe I could sleep better, and if I could sleep better, maybe I wouldn't hurt so much. But, you know, it was just a vicious circle. But, you know, I'm so thankful that someone cared enough to reach out and tell me about Relive, because with the health benefits that I am now receiving by using these products, those issues, they no longer rule my life. I'm so very thankful. I can't say enough. My prayers were answered as far as finding some answers for myself. For 8 years, I was not able to be the wife and the mother that I wanted to be. But I was able to overcome those by being very consistent, and I had to learn that. Maybe some of you who are on Relive already were really good at that, but I wasn't. And so I didn't get my results for about 6 months. But as soon as I realized that this actually was going to work for me, and I got very faithful and consistent, I got, my fibromyalgia was completely gone. My carpal tunnel, I will never have surgery. I was walking with some Nordic walking sticks today for about an hour, and I would never have been able to hold on to those sticks. if I had carpal tunnel. And my hormones are completely balanced. And I also suffer with IBS. And as long as I stay very hydrated, I don't have any problems with that. But, those things mean a lot to me. But what means even more to me is my husband saw when we were using quite a lot of product. So we became master affiliates, and he saw it sitting in the house, and he said, you know what, maybe I should try this. Because 13 years ago, my husband was diagnosed with dilated cardiomyopathy, which really meant that he had about 20% of his heart working. His dad had died at a very early age of a heart attack. His sister has it, his niece has it, 2 of his nephews, and 1 nephew has already had a heart transplant. So my husband decided to join me on the products. So several of our children had also joined, and that's why we came in at the highest profit level at that point. And I am so thankful to say that even though my husband was told that he would be on his heart, these 4 medications he was put on for the rest of his life, my husband is now on 1 1/4 of those medications. And when he came off of his cholesterol medication with the doctor's help, the doctor said he no longer needed that. His cholesterol came down even further with only the addition of the Lunar Rich to his shake. And he also has something called a heart ejection fraction. And what that is his heart was going in 20% and out to 100. I'm just thankful to God to say that as of this last January, the doctor gave us the report that his heart is now going in 50 and out to 100. And here in Canada, the numbers that they go by, 53 is perfect. And so I'm very thankful to God that I get to keep my husband for a long time, the Lord willing. Our lives are in his hands. But, because of my husband's heart issues, before we found Relive, we had fallen into a lot of debt because he actually lost several jobs, even being out of work for even up to a year at a time. And that was very difficult for our family. And so, again, happy to say that instead of this tunnel that we could not see an end to, we also have the light of at the tunnel. And so Relive has also given us a tool, not only for our health, but also for our finances. And every month a check comes, and that represents lives that we've shared Relive with. And I will tell you that I wouldn't be on Relive today if it hadn't been for stories like this. My sponsor was so kind to walk me through many discouraging hours, and she would just keep putting me on these stories. And I can't express how thankful I am for God's gift of nutrition and now also to financial blessings through the Relive. And as long as the Lord gives me breath, I will be sharing this with as many people as I can. And I'm very thankful
Carla.
for that.
A lot of people don't know what fibromyalgia is, but it's a very painful disease that most people, there's no answer for. And they just suffer, with no answer in sight. And here you've found an answer, and it's turned it around for you. To be pain-free is huge. And your husband was on some statins, as I recall. Those are not easy to get off, and he's been able to get off either all or most of those statins. I don't know which.
Yes, he's just down to 1 1/4 of his, and he's not on a statin drug anymore.
Okay. You mentioned irritable bowel syndrome, another one that devastates a lot of people, and you've had relief with that. One other part of your story, as I recall from the past, you had mentioned your mom had results with degenerative disc disease and was on a cane. What's happened to your mom?
Yeah, well, my mom, it's just wonderful. She is 89 years old. She still lives on the farm in Indiana, and she has degenerative disc disease. And when I was just starting Relive, she was walking with a walker, and she wanted to come and see her first great grandbaby, and she was in too much pain to do that. And she just said to me, I think this is probably for young people, but maybe I should try it. And she did, Bill, and I am so thankful to say that my mom is now having quality life. She is actually in Kentucky with my sister right now. She has not only not used her walker, She came to us to Orlando, Florida, when we had the 25th anniversary of Relive, and she didn't even get her cane out of the car. Now, you know, she is 89 now, and that means that she, of course, is getting older each year. But the quality of life that she has been hiking in Maine. She has come up to see not only one, but two great-grandbabies here in Ontario, and another one on the way. And we keep taking her to Florida to see her it's my great-aunt, it's her aunt, who's 104, and she still makes that trip with us, and we're leaving in a few weeks to do that. So the quality of life is huge, Bill. I can't say enough how wonderful of a gift it is to see my mom enjoying her life.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Excuse me, hold on a second. I'm going to mute all our lines. Okay, well, next we're heading over to Georgia. It's my pleasure tonight to have with us Sonia Johnson. And Sonia, your family has certainly had a wide variety of results as well. We'd love you to share.
Hi, Bill. Can you hear me?
Yes, Sonia, go right ahead.
Yes. My name is Sonia Johnson, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I am a registered nurse, former homeschooling mom. And when I was introduced to Relive, I was actually looking for a business opportunity. I had no idea the kind of impact it would have on my family's health. Got started on the products. At the time, I had been having pelvic back and side pain for a couple of years. I'd been to several doctors who could not figure out what it was that was wrong with me. Finally, I went back to my gynecologist. He took a look inside, and he said, "You have probably the worst case of endometriosis I have ever seen, and you need to have a hysterectomy." And I was willing to do that, but at that time, I was in the middle of the homeschooling year, so I said, as soon as the summer gets here, I will come and I will have the surgery. Well, it was around that time that I was introduced to Relive. Got started on the product. Within that first month, that pain that I'd been having went down quite a bit. By the time I went back to my doctor, some months later, the pain had gone from where I'd had it just about every day for about 2 years to where I was only having it once a month. And so I told him what I was doing. He was very skeptical. He wanted me to still have the surgery. I said, no, I will wait. I want to see what Relive is going to continue to do. And he wasn't happy, but I did anyway. And so it has now been 14 years since I got started on the product and recently, within the past year, I did have that hysterectomy, but not for just because of aging. And when they went and looked at the ultrasound, they said, your uterus is good. And so even after 14 years, I still did not have any endometriosis. And so it has just been a great journey. Everyone in my family has gotten results. My daughter had been diagnosed with asthma when she was 5 years old, and each year it got worse. It went to the point where she had allergies, that she was alert to everything, everything environmental, and she also had exercise-induced asthma. She could not play a full quarter of basketball without having to sit out and use her inhaler. And 6 weeks after she got started, she was able to play flag football with the guys for an hour and a half, and she was actually the last girl standing, and she didn't have to use her inhaler. She was not short of breath. She's not had those problems. When she did go off to college, she decided that she would take the product with her, but she would not take it. And so the dorm she was in they were kind of old, and so she called one day. She said, "Mom, I'm just wheezing. I'm wheezing like crazy." I said, "Okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to take as much shake as you can." And we'll be down there. And we got down there, and she was doing fine. It took us about 45 minutes. We did not have to take her to the doctor. We did not have to take her to the emergency room. This is something that we usually would have taken her out for a number of days. And now she tells people nobody has to make me take my shake. I'm just going to take it all the time, because she saw how close she came to having another a really bad asthma attack. My twin daughters, Amanda and Tamara, they had eczema. They had suffered with eczema for a long time. They no longer deal with any of those issues. My mom, she got started at the same time we did. She had suffered with arthritis for a long time. They'd give him a shot that worked for a moment, but not very long. Her arthritis had gotten so bad that sometimes when she got out of bed, she would actually have to crawl to the bathroom because she could not, she could just barely walk. And she got started on the Relive, and one day she called me. She said, "Look," and she was actually walking up and down the steps without any kind of pain. And before she had such great pain, she had to just go little bit by little bit, stopping in between. And so I was just amazed at what it was doing. And she was supposed to have a knee replacement back at that time, and it's been now about 12 years. No, 12 years from then. She did have that knee replacement surgery, and to their amazement, she was up and moving again. In a couple of weeks, they were just looking at her like, this lady's supposed to be in pain. She wasn't. She is she is just amazing. She's 80 years old. She travels. I think in the last year and a half, she went to London. She went to Singapore. She went to Barbados. She went to Canada, Texas, New York, and she just travels wherever she wants to go. She still drives. She doesn't have any kind of illnesses. She's not any medicine. And we just thank God for Relive, for what it has done for us and what we've been able to share with other people and see their lives get changed.
So your mom's arthritis was so bad, her knees were so bad, she could hardly walk, and she crawled to the bathroom at night.
Yes.
So, and she went another 12 years and then finally had the knee replacement. And now you're telling me that she's recovered quickly, and now she's out and about doing all kinds of things, traveling the world.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
Great.
And she's 80 years old. She looks like she's about 50, and everybody tells her how beautiful she is and how they're surprised at her age because she just does so well. She does better than most 50-year-olds.
Right. Now you mentioned at length the endometriosis that you battled. That's very painful. Got some major results with that. As I recall, you had some other results as well.
I did. I had I got started using the Slimplicity, and I was able to lose about 53 pounds, and I was so excited about that because I had to go shopping, but I love shopping, so that was a great side effect, and I just enjoyed that part of it also.
That's great. You lost 53
pounds. Other thing, I'm sorry, I'd been anemic forever, and didn't matter how much iron I took, I was always anemic. And very soon after I got started taking the product, I had some blood work done, and I was asked them about my iron levels, my hemoglobin hematocrit, and they said, "Oh, they're fine." And I said, I made them show me the paper because I'd never had blood work that was good. I said, probably that's the nurse in me. And they showed it to me, and it was normal, and it's been normal ever since.
That's wonderful. Sonia, thank you for being on the call and sharing. We appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for asking me.
Thank you. Well, next we head out to Utah. It's my pleasure tonight to have with us Roger Broberg, and Roger and his family have had some really great results as well. Roger, we'd love you to share.
Oh, I'd love to, Bill. I'm super excited to be able to share. We've been on Relive now for 9 years. We started originally because our daughter, who was 11, had been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called scleroderma. You guys, it's an awful disease where they form hard patches of tissue that can cover their body, disfigure them. It can even move inside. It turns their organs hard, and then it eventually kills them. We had been to a specialist. He had told us that there was no treatment, no cure for her disease, and that because it had started on her arm and it was working its way up her arm, they said that it was probably going to continue upward and go to her head and face and disfigure her. And we were really scared. In those next 3 years, she formed 8 patches of the disease. It went from her wrist to the back of her shoulder, definitely headed upward. And it was about then that we heard about Relive. And we heard that it was just good nutrition and that it was perfectly balanced to help your body do what it was supposed to do. So we decided to give it a try. We went to our daughter. We told her we wanted her to start taking this stuff for her disease. She was 14 by then. She was a typical teenager. and she threw a fit. She said she didn't want to do something that the rest of the family didn't have to do. So we all talked it over. We decided we would all go on Relive just to support her. We weren't expecting any results for ourselves. We just wanted to help her take Relive. So we all did that. Within about a month and a half, my wife's arthritis in her hips, knees, and ankles was about 90% better. My lower back problems that I'd had for 30 years went away, and I was pretty skeptical. I didn't want to believe that it was this powder in a can that I was taking that had helped my back. I kept my mouth shut for a couple more months before I said anything to anybody. It's been 9 years now that I haven't had back problems. That's been incredible for me. We started watching our daughter's disease. We didn't see any changes for several months, but we had heard great stories, and we knew that others had had results with scleroderma. So we kept going, and at about the 5th month, I noticed that my daughter was inconsistent at taking her Relive. She was maybe getting one shake one day and then skipping for days, and then she might get another shake. And so I got involved with that shake-making process, made sure she was getting what she was supposed to on a daily basis. And by the 6th month, her disease started to make a U-turn. Those hard, shiny purple patches went back to normal skin color. They went soft again. They even got hair growth back through the skin again. And they just started fading away. And now in the 9 years that we've been on this, she hasn't had any more problems with the disease. She's married. She has 2 beautiful children. Her oldest is 2.5. And about a year and a half ago, we started her on the kids product. She was getting ear infections all the time. They were having to put her on antibiotics. And since she's been on the kids product for this year and a half, she hasn't had one ear infection. It's been awesome for us. I went on to lose 50 pounds on Relive. I lowered my cholesterol by 67 points. It's just been amazing for us, such a blessing in our families' lives. And we've also shared this with other people, helped them to get results. In fact, I started sharing right from the beginning because I had heard amazing things about what this was doing for people and helping people with. It's been so fun helping people over the past 9 years. And we've earned as much as $3,000 in a month, but it's all around helping people, and we love that part of it.
That's great. Yeah, it is. It's all about making a difference in other people's lives. You got to see it right before your eyes. I mean, how scary was that with what they were telling you for Christy with her scleroderma? I've met some other people. I know I have some other close friends who've dealt with scleroderma, and it's a very scary, life-threatening disease. The prognosis is pretty awful. And Christy's got her life back, and my friend also has her life back. So what a joy that had to bring to your family to watch her and see her now married with kids. What a blessing.
Absolutely.
So, Roger, thank you. Appreciate you being on and sharing for us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have one more guest for you tonight. We have a good friend, Stephanie and Paul Collins, up in New Hampshire. And Stephanie and Paul are ambassadors with Relive. They've not only had some really good results in their family, they've also made a serious business of helping people. And it's our pleasure to have Stephanie join us tonight and share some of their journey. So, Stephanie, we'd love you to come on.
Hi, Bill. How you doing?
Good. Welcome.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to be on. Just always excited to give hope to people, either financial hope or hope for their health. So I'm glad I'm here. And our story started actually 22 years ago. I can't believe I'm that much older. I don't know what happened. But my neighbor, I was a stay-at-home mom with 2 little kids. I have 3 now. But 2 little kids, my neighbor came over and said, you got to look at this stuff. She had gotten off all her asthma medication. And so we decided to take a look at it. I say to people, don't give up hope on people who aren't interested in the business, because I basically told my neighbor initially, I'm not interested in the business, but I was interested in better health. So we did get on the product, my husband and I. We were very consistent, and within a month, we knew we would never, ever get off. we had energy, we were sleeping better, we had more patience with the kids. I mean, that's huge when you're just a stay-at-home mom and you're fairly healthy, you're just tired and can't sleep type of thing. And so that rocked our world. We just loved it. And so we did come in as master affiliates, which is the highest profit level. I knew I'd be on it forever. And I knew, I wanted my parents on it and other people that I cared about. And so, ordered a bulk order and thought I'd have it for a couple of years and just as our stock. Little did we know, by 4 months, my husband's allergies that he had since he was a child to cats and dogs, mold, mildew, hay fever, and dust were 95% gone. And no one had ever, the company was really young back then. No one told us that we could expect anything like that. So we were shocked and we were excited because that gave us hope for my son. Now, my son had rages. He had a learning disability in school, and he had tons of food allergies. He couldn't eat eggs or milk or wheat or soy or deli meat or pineapple or, the list really went on and on. And he would cheat, and then he would blow out his eardrums, and then, just a whole mess of things would happen. And so we started him really, really slow because one of the things he was allergic to was soy. And we had heard that he wouldn't be allergic to the Relive soy because it's non-GMO and all of that. But started him cautiously and started creeping up. He was getting no, effects from it, which he normally would with some of the foods that he's allergic to. So we started creeping up with the amount we gave him. And I will tell you, by 5 weeks, I was the happiest mother in the world because he had no more rages. And I was like, oh my goodness, something is happening. I knew it. And so we got really, really consistent with him. And sometimes he would sit there and not want to take a shake, and I would, stand there and say, yes, you're going to. I was the mom, the parent. And so, but I'm glad I held firm on this because by 7 months, my little boy had no more food allergies at all. He could eat anything he wanted for the first time in his life. And we got a call from the school. They brought us in, sat us down, and they took him off his special ed program, no more learning disability.
Wow.
I will tell you, wow is the word. When that happened, Bill, how could I not share, really, with other people? Because, again, I was the one who said I didn't want a business. I was happy being the mom. Paul made a 6-figure income in a corporate job. So, but you know what? We really believe that we're put on this earth to help people. And so there's people praying for answers. And so how could I not do this? Seriously. And so anyway, so that's when I started putting in, for the next 12 years, I did this very, very part-time. More like a hobby of helping people. Had another baby, actually used it as a prenatal for my third child. Went through some things in those 12 years, the last few. Actually, that was after we became ambassadors. Anyway, so what happened was did it part-time, making about $800 a month as a little hobby. And then Paul got laid off 10 years ago. And, a lot of people at that point, 10 years ago, the economy was really doing bad. And he got laid off. We never saw it coming. And I knew in my heart we were supposed to be doing this because my two neighbors, and I live in a little town in New Hampshire, my two neighbors were already making over $100,000 a year from home, both of them, and they were stay-at-home moms. And we loved the products. We knew what they did. So I said to my husband, don't look for a job. Let's just do this. And we did. We decided, we made a business decision to do exactly that. And we've never looked back. at first, in network marketing, you have to work hard, really hard in the beginning, as you're building it, and you're not making, $10,000 a month right away. And so we knew we had to work really hard, and we didn't spend a lot of money. But within a year and a half, we did become ambassadors with the company, which just means that our overrides were over $4,000 a month, 2 months in a row. And we really never looked back. My husband, just really thinking back at it, my kids had a stay-at-home mom and dad during their middle school and high school years, and that's amazing in this time, where most parents are out there, and a lot of times they both have jobs, and sometimes even 2 jobs, each of them. We just work from home, so Paul could be, a coach. He could be work with the Boy Scouts. He could, it was just amazing. And so it's the time freedom is actually worth just as much as the money. And last year, I'd like to say this to people just to give them hope that this really is a company that really pays. But last year, from home, we made $90,000. That's like pinch me, please. And we were able to, because this company pays well and it blesses other people, our dream was really to live on a lake someday, and we chose a couple of years ago to move to a lake. So now we wake up and we look out at the lake, we make our calls, when we want to, we make appointments when we want to. It's really, I just really encourage people. It will really change the direction of your life. That's what I tell people. Just, be open to actually learn about it.
That's it. Wow. Well, it's quite a journey you've been on, both health-wise and business-wise. I think one of the parts of your story is your son with 60 different food allergies, as I recall.
Yeah.
He could hardly eat anything. And the learning disabilities and the rages, how difficult was that for you and Paul to deal with? All those issues revolving around your son, and now he has his life back.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to hear the Lyme disease part of the story, if
Sure.
that would be helpful for people. But for like 12 years, we literally, and I had 3 kids, literally did not get colds. If we get the sniffles, it was gone in a day. So I don't even consider that a cold. No flus, no sore throats, nothing. So in my mind, Bill, I thought we would never be sick again. I thought, this is cool, this is amazing, this stuff. And then we got a dog. At about the same time we became ambassadors, we got a dog. And in New Hampshire, there's a lot of ticks. And one by one, each of us started coming down with different symptoms. My son started having headaches, and he was tired, and depression. And then my daughter started having aches and pains in her joints. I had neck aches. Paul just couldn't think clear. It was just weird. We didn't know much about Lyme disease back then. And all of a sudden, one of my daughters did get diagnosed, and the light bulb went on. And I said, holy smokes, we all have Lyme disease. And so we knew that we had to increase our shakes, which we did. We also knew that Relive does not kill the Lyme, so we had to kill it in some way, which, we actually chose. We did not choose the antibiotic route. We chose something else. But what happened was we all, got rid of everything. Everything was fine. Everything was clear. 0 co-infections, 0 Lyme, feeling good again, except for my one daughter. She, even though she was cleared and said she was fine, she still had symptoms. And so that was about the same time Dr. Carl had that 24K conference, and a new product was being announced. And I knew that Lyme what happens is when you get Lyme disease, it damages your mitochondria. So I was sitting in that audience, not knowing what to do about Shelley, really. And I heard Dr. Carl say, well, this product, if you know anyone with a mitochondrial disease, this product will help repair the mitochondria. Oh, my goodness. I almost flipped out. Literally, when I got home, I knew it had no warning labels. I gave her 2 to 3 double shots a day, and in 2 weeks, every single symptom was gone.
Wow.
Yeah, it really was. It was the answer for her, that we needed. So I just really feel blessed. It came out at the right time.
Well, it's a powerful story how this product has impacted your life, your family, and you've reached out and made a difference in a lot of people's lives, because every penny you earn in Relive means that somebody else is getting results with the product.
Oh, yeah.
You've touched a lot of lives as well. Well, I've run out of time. Stephanie, it's certainly been a pleasure. I want to thank